Short of the glory of God.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is the future. He is the present and he is the future. And he might be the greatest talent we've ever seen in the UFC.
Jones to the body. And it is all over! Jon Jones is the youngest champion in UFC history!
How do you tell the story of a man who seems to be two completely different people? A man who, inside the cage, looked almost superhuman, yet outside the cage, repeatedly found himself surrounded by controversy, chaos, and self-destruction. On one side, there is Jon Jones, the champion, the youngest UFC champion in history, a fighter many consider the greatest mixed martial artist to ever live. But on the other side, there is a darker story. A story filled with arrests, failed drug tests, scandals, and personal demons that threaten to destroy one of the greatest careers combat sports has ever seen. This is not just the story of Jon Jones's victories. This is the story of two lives being lived at the same time, the GOAT and the monster. Before the championship belts, the sold-out arenas, and the millions of fans, there was a young athlete with extraordinary talent. From the moment Jon Jones entered mixed martial arts, people noticed something different. He wasn't fighting or thinking like everyone else. While most relied on raw power, Jones fought like a chess grandmaster. Every movement had a purpose. Every fight looked like a puzzle he had already solved. Then came the opportunity that changed everything. After his teammate was forced out due to an injury, a 23-year-old Jones stepped in to challenge the reigning champion, Mauricio "Shogun" Rua. Most expected a brutal war. What they witnessed instead was complete domination. Jones dismantled the legend, becoming the youngest champion in UFC history.
To the body. And it is all over! Jon Jones is the youngest champion!
A new king had arrived. After winning the title, Jones ruled over an entire generation. One by one, the biggest names in the sport stepped forward, and one by one, they fell. Jones possessed advantages that seemed unfair: an 84-inch reach, elite wrestling, devastating striking, and a fight IQ that bordered on absolute genius. Watching Jon Jones at his peak felt like watching the future of fighting. He wasn't simply winning, he was evolving the sport in real time. As victory after victory piled up, the answer became impossible to deny. Jon Jones was the greatest fighter of all time. But while the champion continued dominating inside the cage, the man outside the cage was beginning to unravel. Small controversies became major headlines. Minor mistakes became serious problems. The image of the perfect champion started falling apart. Fans who once saw a role model began asking difficult questions. Who was Jon Jones when the cameras were turned off? And the answers became increasingly troubling. The further his career progressed, the darker the headlines became. Then came the incidents that would forever change how people viewed him. Arrests, legal troubles, failed drug tests, suspensions. Each controversy seemed darker than the last. There was the infamous 2015 hit and run where he crashed into a pregnant woman's car and fled on foot, only to run back for cash before vanishing. There were multiple drug test failures that stripped him of his belts. There was even the bizarre lore of Jones hiding under an MMA cage for hours just to avoid a random drug test. But his darkest hour came in Las Vegas, just hours after being inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame, when he was arrested for domestic violence after his fiancée was found bleeding in front of their terrified children. The chaos never stopped. It became a toxic cycle. Victory, controversy, suspension, comeback, repeat. The greatest fighter in the world was becoming his own worst enemy. What made Jon Jones different wasn't just the controversies, it was the contrast. Most athletes are either heroes or villains. Jon Jones somehow became both. One weekend he would deliver a legendary performance. The next, another headline would dominate the news. The man who looked fearless against world champions seemed entirely unable to escape his personal demons. His greatest fight was never against another contender. It was a battle between discipline and temptation, between greatness and self-destruction, between the GOAT and the monster. Many believed his career was finished, more than once, but somehow Jon Jones always returned. After a massive 3-year layoff from the sport, vacating his light heavyweight throne to move to the heavyweight division, the doubts were everywhere. Had time finally caught up with him? Was the legend over? Then the cage door closed against Cyril Gane, and once again, Jon Jones reminded the world why he is different. He dismantled the top contender in less than 3 minutes. The skills, the intelligence, and the greatness remained. Even after everything, the champion was still there. So, how should history remember Jon Jones? As the greatest mixed martial artist who ever lived? Or as a cautionary tale about wasted potential? The truth may be somewhere in the middle. He is neither a perfect hero nor a simple villain. He is one of the most gifted athletes the sport has ever seen, and one of its most controversial figures. A man who conquered champions, yet spent years struggling to conquer himself. He won wars inside the octagon, but the war within may never truly be over. And that is why the story of Jon "Bones" Jones remains one of the most fascinating stories in UFC history. For more videos, subscribe this channel and like and comments below.